All right, then I will call the meeting of the Conservation Commission for November 17th open. And we have a quorum. And our first item on the agenda is approve the minutes from our November 4th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty, so moved. And guys, this should be a quick meeting tonight because we have no new public hearings. So we have the continued public hearing for 148 Bedford Street. And John, did we get a final DEP number on that one?
Yes, we did. And this is the in-ground pool that we had to do a stop order on, and they filed, and we got the DEP number today. And so I'd recommend closing the hearing and issuing a standard order of conditions for a pool.
All right, any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to
close the hearing.
close.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved, and I'll entertain a motion to issue a standard order of conditions.
Motion to issue a standard order of conditions.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All
Okay,
right,
then
John.
we have a follow-up on, I'm sorry. We issued a certificate of compliance for 143 Scotland Street at the last meeting. And now that he's got his certificate, we can give him back his surety for that we held to make sure he asked for a certificate. And so I recommend releasing the $100 surety for the application of a COC.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue the surety refund.
I'll make the motion to release the surety.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. Follow-up for 265 East Center Street.
So at the last meeting, Lee mentioned that there might have been something going on behind the building that's going up. There's a 3-bay contractor's building going up right across the street from the golf course parking lot. And I did an inspection and was alarmed at the fact that it didn't seem to follow the plan that was approved by the commission. So I got a hold of, and I believe that the reason why Lee had heard about it is that they were compacting the parking lot behind the building, and he had mentioned something about behind the building. So I called up the engineer and asked him to schedule a meeting with the owner, the site contractor, and have his engineering crew out at the site to show me the elevations that looked to be too high for what was approved. And according to our meeting this afternoon, the floor grade of the building was raised a little over a foot higher than what was proposed, and that the parking lot is about the same, about a foot and a half higher than what it was proposed to be, and that there's some grading that's out back that isn't consistent with the plan. And so I asked how did that happen, and the contractor said that when they were digging the foundation for the building, they were asked by the building inspector to put in 8 inches of stone underneath the foundation because the soil below the ground was not very suitable for bearing the weight of that building. So the past history on that piece of land, if you go into the file, and probably Tim knows some of it as well, there was a lot of illegal activity that was done on that site over the years. And I'm talking back before there was a golf course, back before there were the other buildings along that section, the Hilliard's Candy and the pizza place and the doctor's pediatrician's office that was there or used to be there. Anyway, I wouldn't doubt that some of that land had been filled in. And so that's probably why the building inspector told them to put stone down. So that's their excuse for being at least 8 inches higher than they should have been. So I left it with them that the engineer has to do a partial as-built, correct the drainage issues that I pointed out to him today, because they were draining water off the site and not putting it into the sediment forebay that's out in the back stormwater basin. They were just basically draining it into the wetland in the back. And to ask for a project change, which means we'd have to have it on the agenda for an upcoming meeting, and they think that our next is too soon to be able to do that. And I said, that doesn't matter to me. When you do it, we just need to do it as soon as you can. And they said, what about paving? And I said, well, if you're going to pave it and it needs to be changed, then you're going to be ripping up pavement. And the developer is okay with that and wants to come in tomorrow and give me a statement that I can have witnessed that he's doing it at his own risk. Because of course the paving season is coming to a screeching halt very quickly now, especially with the drop in temperature. So the bottom line is that there are some changes that are going to be needed, and the engineer is going to propose them after he does an as-built. And if the paving is done and has to be changed in the spring to reflect what should be done there, the owner or the developer realizes he's going to have to rip it up.
Wow.
So
And I mean, that project sat idle for quite a while. So, I mean, there was plenty of time to get this done before paving season came to a screeching halt.
Yep.
I mean, I don't feel too much pain right now for this developer on this site.
yeah, they asked if we could do something in an emergency session and all that. And I said, no. I said, it's not something that we created. It was because of the way you managed your project that put you in this bind. I said, number one standard order in our permit says that you have to come to us for any construction or plan change, and nobody did. And I asked the engineer if he was contacted, and he wasn't. So this is the first that they know of it.
Yeah.
And if Lee hadn't said anything, we'd get an as-built that shows all of this, and they would try to smooth it over by saying, oh, it's in substantial compliance. So I've got to work on a method that will require them to give us an interim as-built before paving, so that we don't run into this problem. Because when there's gravel there, they can change it fairly easily and quickly. But once there's paving, it's a lot more difficult. And the reason I want that developer to sign that statement is if he sells it between Christmas and spring, the new people are going to have to pull it up. And I want at least a record of it showing that there is a problem there, and that if you're buying it, you buy it at your own risk. So,
Well, that was
where
thorough.
we stand, but it was a good thing that Lee had heard that there was something going on, and that alerted me to the fact that there was some issues out there.
Okay.
All right, and per your email, we're just gonna table the proposed zoning changes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we got a
let
little
me
backed up.
explain a couple of things. So I had planned to be on vacation last week, and Kitty was going to cover the office. And it turns out that before I went on vacation, she let me know that her husband was involved in an automobile accident. And he is in a Boston hospital recuperating, and will be coming home late next week. And so she's going to have to still deal with that. And so she wasn't in the office at all last week, and she won't be in this week. And she's going to be not coming back until after Thanksgiving. So that'll be the Monday following Thanksgiving, she'll be back. So with all the other things that go on in the office, I really didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of other things because I was doing some of the things that she does and my own things. And that's why I figure we better put it off a little bit so I can get you some more information for your review. So that's an update on her, and he's recuperating, so it's not serious other than he needed to be observed because the automobile accident could have given him a concussion and that kind of thing. So they've been monitoring him, and he also had a bite from a tick, and they think that may have had some effect as well. So
Wow.
Wow.
So the 153 Scotland Street, I sent an email to the owner and said that if you're planning to pave, you may need to file a stormwater application with us. And I got an email back saying that they weren't planning to pave right away, but that they would be paving, and that they appreciated the fact that I alerted them to the fact that they might need an application, and they offered to meet with me out there to go over how much additional paving they're going to do. They're not going to do the whole driveway. They're only doing where it widens out for the new garage. And so they asked to meet with me so I could take some measurements and let them know approximately how many square feet they were going to be paving. And the owner approximated it himself at 3,800 square feet of paving, additional new paving. And I said, by me coming out and verifying those measurements, I could either confirm that or tell you something different. And that way you can stay out of trouble. And he appreciated that.
Okay, good.
So that's about all I have.
right.
Invoices, I mentioned it in the email, again, because it takes some paperwork to put together. And I had a lot of inspections to catch up on after being away for a week. And I just didn't get them all done. So I'll be working on that Wednesday and Thursday and sometime into next week. And so at our next meeting, we'll have all our invoices ready for you.
John, do you recall, I sent you an email, I don't know, a week and a half ago, but it was in reference to that house that had the iron fence where they're going to put the addition on top of the deck. It looked to me from the pictures that were on Facebook that they hadn't done anything beyond the fence to the trees or any of the shrubbery that they tore down along that fence line. I wonder if there's anything new there.
All right. I could not open that up for some reason.
No, I'm not surprised. I think the format I sent would have been pretty difficult, but.
So now I know which one you're talking about, and I will follow up with them and have a report for you for our next meeting, but I'll probably email you also with some information on it.
Chances are they're not going to plant anything now anyway, but I don't know if they had any plans to do it.
but it was on Facebook, huh?
Well, the contractor put it on.
Uh-huh.
The
Another great
contractor-
job by X number of contractor company, right?
That's right. And it's right at the fence. In fact, I think some of the addition goes over the fence.
Oh, wow. We're gonna have to, I'll do an inspection tomorrow.
Okay. All right, that's
Good
all
catch,
I
Mo.
had. Oh, the only other thing in reference, and this doesn't have to be done immediately, but in reference to the trees that are being cut down, we were going to try and come up with some penalty or fine for the radius of a tree that was cut down in the future, that that they can't replace it, but it may cost them a few dollars. I didn't want to forget that we proceed to take a look at that in the future.
So, I can try to check and see what other, through the Mass Society of Conservation Professionals, I can try to see what some of the other towns are doing in those cases.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that and I know we did this for Harvestwood and Spring Street intersection where the trees were cut down. We knew the person couldn't put back 24, 20-inch trees. So there was a ratio factor added. So for every tree cut down, the applicant had to plant X number of trees more to replace that one because they couldn't do it in kind. So I can come up with some of that as well, and then I'll propose it to you and let you know. But I do think that that there's a general tendency for people to say, "Whoops, I'm sorry."
Right.
And it's easier to do that than to come to us and say, "Oh, I want to cut 12 trees off my land," and for us to say, no, you can't do that.
Right.
So they get the clearing, they get the sun on their pool that they want to have. They get the leaves out of the pool that they've installed,
Right.
and they go, "Oops," and sorry. And I think we could say, "Well, we're sorry. Here's the policy. You have to give us X number of dollars for the fine, and also plant a certain ratio of trees for every tree you cut down." And that might stop the oopses.
Yeah.
I mean, and make it so it's something that, okay, $500 an inch or whatever it is, because realistically, there's companies in New Jersey that you can buy that 6, 7, 8, 12-inch caliper tree, and they'll bring it
Really?
up here and crane it into place. And it'll cost you a 5-figure sum to get that put in and replaced, but
wow.
it can be done. And if you look in town, I mean, even on Facebook, you see it all over now with all the storms we've had, the amount of tree work that's coming down. And
Sure.
some of them, yes, are dangerous trees and need to be, but some of them, like John said, they just want more sunlight or more area for their pool or a bigger yard.
Exactly.
And I'm looking at saying, you're just taking down all of these trees that have been there for tens of years or 100 years or more or whatever. And people are talking about this global warming and how much carbon sequestration is being done by these trees. And you're just removing them and not replacing or replanting or doing anything to benefit it. And yeah, I'm on my little soapbox because even as I was walking tonight.
No, but I totally agree with you, Tim. Because, and John's right, you say, oh, well, whoops, but if whoops just cost you $10,000, maybe it wouldn't be quite the same.
Yeah, I mean, where you could have even trimmed the trees and left them and pruned them, and they still would have had benefit for the environment and everybody else involved, instead of just clear cutting it to say, oh, I just wanted more space. But yeah, John, if you find anything, and I'll take a look at the Mac stuff and go online and see if Mac has something.
Yeah.
So I'll put that on the next agenda.
Does anybody else have anything else?
Did I see, John, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I did see something come through from Mac about December 1st now. have to be heard within 21 days. See that?
It somehow on my
Changed back
end, you
from
broke up, so I didn't hear the
pre-COVID.
whole thing.
Yeah, Mac was talking about having the legislature, there's movement or a bill coming up that is going to take away from the governor or change the governor's executive order mandating postponement of hearings, but reinstate it so that 21 days from the original filing, or I think it's December 1st, that all hearings that are published or posted have 21 days starting December 1st this year have to be heard. So you can no longer
Right.
say that because of the executive order, everything's just on hold. They have to start processing and holding public hearings again.
Well, luckily, we've been doing it, but I
Right.
know there are other towns that haven't.
That's
I don't know
right.
how they're gonna ever catch up.
And I mean, if you get an onslaught all of a sudden of 9 months worth of hearings come in at once wanting to have viewing to get that processed in 21
Yeah.
days, it's going to be painful
Yeah.
for some towns and commissions to deal with, I think.
The last I heard, Bridgewater, the buildings are closed. The employees are all working from home. So it runs the gamut from like our town and East
Wow.
Bridgewater, I know is open and people have to do social distancing, wear masks, and there's sanitation protocols that are set up on a daily basis in the offices. And, everybody has to wear a mask in the common areas, or if you have too many people working in your office, you all have to wear your mask all day long, that type of thing. But like I say, Bridgewater was closed and everybody's working from home. There's others that have told me they haven't had a public hearing since this all started. I just can't believe it. And at least we're trying to keep things moving and letting people get out there and do their projects. So we can be angry about people taking down trees, but we're also trying to be helpful and keep things rolling for people as well. Hey, there's Lee.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah, how do you allow it?
Well,
on.
we'll give you the good news or the bad news. We're almost done with the agenda for tonight. Good news is I'm glad we see you.
Yeah.
Just give you a quick update, Lee.
Yeah.
You were very
So
astute
that his work
at
goes on.
warning. That's right. We can see you very easily. 265 East Center Street. There were some issues there with the way they were grading the property. So we're having them do a project change and have a engineered plan come in and show us what they're going to do about it. So you were right.
On what? On me?
Yeah, on 265, when you mentioned 265 East Center,
Oh, yeah, I'll back that, right? Okay, yeah. Oh,
across from the golf course.
Yeah, okay. So they're having some, doing regrading. Okay. That's good then. Good to know. I'll pass on the information to the concerned business owner next door.
Okay.
That's good. So, geez, so that wasn't.
He, if you can, you might want to ask him to express his concerns to me in a little bit more direct application. I mean, because I think there needs to be something done on his behalf, and it sounds like the developer has some issue with that. So I'd hate to see the whole thing get finalized and the businessman next door come up short.
Yeah, I don't think, I think it's actually my wife's business there, the way she works. They just heard different noises. They were concerned. They didn't know if there was anything being filled or anything out back with the wetlands, because they knew there was wetlands back there.
Yeah.
And so they were just kind of like, they heard different noises, and obviously it was probably that the roller there that was making the thugging noise.
Yeah.
But they were just concerned about, they wanted to make sure that there was nothing being filled or anything like that. And that's why I said something. if you could take a look and see if there's anything going on out there that's a little unusual that wasn't supposed to be. And so that's
Well,
what
like-
they told me.
Okay,
Like John said, if they've raised the grade anywhere from 12 to 18 inches above what was permitted, it's gonna
It's a big
increase the runoff onto possibly the property owner beside him if we don't keep an eye on it. So
True.
we just want to make sure that the engineer's aware of that situation and that we're on top of them so that we don't have a problem.
Jeez. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Well, since we have no invoices to sign, and does anybody have anything else
No.
that they want to bring up tonight? Because if not, I think we've covered everything.
Anything
Oh.
going on? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna mention to John, and I forgot earlier, the dump. Did they pull all that material back from the wetland area? Because I noticed there are no markers or signs up down there yet.
I'll check into it.
I
think
went. I actually went down there a couple of weeks ago, just pulled in for the hell of it. There's nothing, there's no debris or anything, no piles of anything up in the barrier there where they were dumping. Seems like everything was taken out of there. So markers, I didn't see any markers, but there was no buildup like there was before when they were dumping stuff there.
So I think we talked about incorporating the markers when Silva Engineering proposes the septic system that's going to be used for the new building out there.
Do you have
And
a
so
time
I'll,
frame for that?
I that's what I'll check into, because I didn't follow up on that part of it. But I agree with Lee about the material. But I know they didn't put the markers in, or at least the last time I had looked, they hadn't put them in.
I mean, because I'm just looking at that giant pile of composted material, the leaves and everything that's now grown considerably this season. And I mean, if they're going to be doing the engineering and having Silva come in, I mean, might be the time to address stormwater runoff down there. Because if we get a heavy rainstorm pretty soon, any leaching that comes out of that is just going to go across that pavement, and well, least resistance is going to be right into the wetland. And so if
Yeah.
they're going to have to do a bunch of paving and a new septic system, and maybe now's the time to correct it all right and make it so that it does what it's supposed to. I mean, I know they store the material there from when they do the grindings and everything, and it might be time to actually make a padded area that's protected, so stuff that does run off has somewhere to get the sediment separated and things cleaned off before it just keeps going.
Okay. I know this isn't a similar type of situation, but I just want to mention we're working on a way to get the canoe launch off of Pratt's Landing, or at Pratt's Landing, off the river and up above where the river usually floods to. So we got it installed, but now we got to get it out of there. So we got to come up with a method to do that. So I talked with Jack Ames, and he's going to give it some thought, and probably know better by our next meeting.
How heavy is that, John? I mean,
You just pulled up with a couple of trucks?
I was gonna say, a farm tractor?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. A farm tractor with maybe some fence posts that could act like rollers, and just roll it up out of the water and up onto the high ground. But I don't want to do that if it's going to break parts of it.
Yep.
So that's what we're looking into. When we installed it, Nick Anderson and I were standing in the actual river up to our waist, because the summer was nice and warm and the water was cool, and we didn't mind doing it. This time of year,
Yeah.
I think even with waders, it's going to be pretty
Yeah.
cold. So
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, actually, the
think-
water's warmer now. It would be cooler in the spring.
Yeah.
I can ask Emily about maybe seeing about using the tractor, her tractor.
Yeah,
That's-
I would-
She's got a 4-wheel drive one there that with a bucket, and everything. I can find out from her if she's willing to allow me to use it and maybe kind of like figure out what we can do to get it out of there or what.
That sounds great, Lee. I'll let Jack know that we've got some ideas here,
Okay.
and I may be talking to you about it.
Yep. Sounds good. Anything going on with Russo's there, that with the land down there?
I know that the Recreational Space Committee has made some inquiries as to, and reason why I mentioned the Recreational Space Committee is that the youth athletic people were involved, soccer, Little League, football, basketball, all the different factions were all part of that committee. And I've seen a couple of emails coming from them to the town asking, what's our next step? And so I believe the next step is that the town is going to put out a request to talk to an engineer to start coming up with some ideas as to how that could be developed. But I get the impression from the tone of all of the conversations that with the COVID-19 and the impact that it's had on the economy and available funds and things, that maybe it won't be done quite as quickly as we would have done if it wasn't for the shutdown.
What about those
They've been-
those town property now, or are they still Russo's property?
I believe, I don't know if I've seen the actual deed, but once the town owns it, it's ours.
Because I think somebody was asking me if somebody was interested in maybe buying them.
Oh, wow.
So if that's possible, you just contact the town, I would say, right? 'Cause-
Yeah, you know what I'll do is I'll ask and I'll give a message back to you and then you can relay it.
okay. Sounds good.
That sounds like a great thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
That's a winner.
yeah. Might as well
somebody
get
else
those,
removes it and it's surplus to the town and
yeah.
Must be Lee. Lee's putting them in his backyard.
No, not me. Nope, not me. I'd take them, I wouldn't buy them.
No.
it's for that hemp operation he's got going.
Yeah.
Would be nice. We could all get on that. Oh God, that'd be good. I think I don't have anything else myself.
All righty. We have nothing else, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.